Welcome to Covering the Field with your host, Joe Ellison.
Welcome to Covering the Field. I'm Joe Ellison, and with me today are my amazing colleagues, Big Richard Martin and Gator Gates. Guys, just like that, the NC2A basketball tournament is already down to its final four. What happened in last week's action that eliminated 12 teams?
Well, Joe, the mighty have fallen. The 1 seeds, you're out of here. The 2 seeds, you're out of here. And the 3 seeds, you're out of here. The top seed is now the 4. UConn is the top seed in the tournament. The mighty have fallen.
Yeah, well, San Diego State beat Alabama and then Creighton. What do you think about that the end of the Creighton game?
Well, Joe, let's start with the Alabama game. I think that was the biggest one. Let's start with the Alabama with Brandon Miller is now being drafted by Artie because Artie chokes. I'm telling you right now, Brandon Miller, 9 points in the Sweet 16 game, shoot 1 for 10 from the 3-point line, and you're the number 1 pick. I'll pass on Brandon Miller. Thanks a lot. You busted my bracket up, and Alabama, wait till next year.
Yeah, well, they won't have Brandon Miller next year.
You know, Brandon Miller is going to come out. He's not going to go to Artie, I'm sure. But anyway, Alabama did out-rebound San Diego State. We talk about their great defense San Diego State has. They did out-rebound them 52-48. That's because you shot 3 from 27 from the 3-point line. And when you're shooting long, you get the longer rebounds, better chance for offensive rebounds. And, of course, there was 24 of those from the 3-point line that they missed. So 11%. Hold them, it was just terrible. But one thing about San Diego State, I can tell you, they average to the tournament, they're averaging over 10 turnovers a game. So they do play good defense. They get a lot of steals. But we want to go to the Creighton game, which was an outstanding game. Didn't you love it there on last Sunday? Then they played the Creighton, and I thought Creighton was up by, but they were up by 8 points or so. They looked like they were going to get it. And San Diego State just plays great defense. And they just keep coming back and keep coming back. And I can tell you right now, Ryan Cockbrenner from Creighton, their 7-foot center had a great game. And, the questionable hand check ghost foul.
Very questionable.
But by the letter of the law, it's a foul. But at the end of the game, swallow the whistle, ref, would you? My goodness, can we let the players decide it? Because calling that foul, that game to game, they make one, and this could be a you got hosed when, absolutely. Let's just throw the ball down, and they threw it to the third row of the cheerleaders when they had their play. I mean, I was waiting for Christian Laettner type of play. You have a 7-footer, and you overthrow
it. It was deflected out of bounds. They had to check the stopwatch in order to see exactly how much time had gone by, which is a
terrible pass. My goodness, Russell Wilson could throw the ball. I mean, doesn't throw the terrible throws like that. It was horrible. Anyway, San Diego State, they're rolling. I think their toughest game, you can see what they're doing to the 3-point line. Like I told you, Creighton shot 2 from 20 from the 3-point line. Like I told you, 3 from 27. So is that defense or is that just missing shots?
Oh, I'd say defense has a lot to do with it.
Defense does have a lot, but I can tell you, you can do a ball screen and get an open shot. The shots weren't falling. They smashed Furman in the first in the second round. Furman shot 25%. And Charleston shot 25%, which they had that game was tied with 3 minutes. Charleston almost knocked off San Diego State.
That was one of my picks.
Right. But they do play great defense. And they hold their opponents, San Diego State, to 28% 3 points for the 3-point line. So, I mean, if Creighton shot even 10%, I mean, maybe 15%, they probably would have won that game. But they play good defense. Congratulations. San Diego State has 4 seniors and 1 junior. The last 3 years, they're in the top 3 if you just the records, if you put every team in the nation. So, I mean, they're playing together, and they finally got their first win in the tournament. And now they're on to the Final Four.
Yeah. Still, that ball was out of that guy's hand when he got hit already.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I didn't think it really affected the shot.
Yeah, it was a hand check in the hip.
Only 17 fouls called all game, and then you call one. Then that didn't
very questionable.
Right.
And you hate to be the referee at that point. You have to make a call, and I mean, it came down to his whistle. I mean,
absolutely.
So, but he did make 1 or 2 free throws. If he did come through and make the free throw. So good for them. Want to move on to the East?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Gator, do you have anything to say about how's your bracket? Was San Diego State, was that in there or?
Well, I had San Diego State, but I had Creighton beating San Diego State. I did have them going so far, but
that's as far as I had Creighton going, was losing that game, but it wasn't to San Diego State.
Exactly, yeah. So that was just crazy. In UConn, well, okay, no, you're right. I agree with you, Big Richard.
Okay, so let's go to the FAU, the Cinderella story, the highest seed left, 9 seed. I think the biggest win when they beat Tennessee 62-55.
Yep.
Tennessee's known as the best defended team in the tournament, and they played low with them. Played 162-55. They out rebounded Tennessee 40-35, and this is the big one. The turnovers were 12 turnovers for Tennessee, 3 for FAU, and that was the difference in the game.
So not defense.
Well, it's good protecting the ball for sure. Kansas State, give them credit. They were picked finished last in the Big 12 in the media poll.
Right.
So they did pretty well, and they just ran into
Marcus
really awesome.
Noel wasn't that a great story seeing him out, shortest guy on the court, 5'8".
Yeah.
And 30 points, 12 assists. Tough loss for them. I don't know what he was thinking at the end. I don't know why he passed that ball. He's been shooting it every time down the court, and just, I think he was going to
shoot it.
Well, I think he wanted to do a pass and get a quick pass back, and they threw it to one of his bigs, and they just stole it from him and never got a shot off. So it was
maybe that was the way the play was designed, but at that point, maybe you just throw that out the window.
Throw that out the window and go take it. They needed a 3, and they didn't get a shot off. So it was we're looking for another big 3-pointer to send it to overtime. I think everybody was, but hands off to Marcus Noel. He showed out in the East, and is at the biggest stage, Madison Square Garden, and he sure lived up to it. So it was good. But let's look at how FAU got there. They, like you said, they beat Tennessee, they beat Kansas State in the Elite 8, and then Fairleigh Dickinson they won 78-70.
They didn't have to play Purdue. Fairleigh Dickinson took care of that problem.
Right, exactly. So they didn't have to play the bigs. But the Memphis, that game was probably the closest one. Memphis in the first round, because Memphis was winning by 1 and failed to play defense, let them come down and shoot a little floater, easy 2-point shot.
That was a great game, actually.
And Memphis could easily be where Florida Atlantic is right now, considering that was just a 1-point game.
Well, and you can look at, FAU, they've out-rebounded their, for the whole stats, they've out-rebounded their opponents by 236 rebounds. So they do rebound the ball very well to play good defense. And so we have to look at that. Okay. And I thought the best part of that was when Jerome Tang, the coach for Kansas State, went to the Florida Atlantic locker room and said, "You guys keep going. You're the toughest team we played this year." Showed great sportsmanship. Jerome Tang, what a coach, should be coach of the year for sure. Taking, like you said, predicted to be last. And I don't think they've even had 2 starters from the season before. And, he put that team together and they played good. So who are you guys going to pick? I've given you the stats, FAU or San Diego State.
Well, you want to hear some stats?
That's great.
Here we go.
I'm actually going to take San Diego State, but spread wise, I can't really say that's the best bet. These teams are even. They both cover about the same. The last 10, 7-2-1 and 7-3. I mean, they're covering, they're winning. I don't want to pick from these teams, but I will say San Diego State beating Alabama was the most impressive win.
Absolutely.
Between the teams. Alabama was the team I picked to win it all.
And the spread's 2.5.
Yeah, it's a 2. But I think where the value is taking the under. 132. Aztecs have played 12 consecutive under games. They haven't given up more than 64 points in the entire month of March. Out of 363 men's Division I basketball teams, San Diego State is ranked 266th when it comes to pace of play. Florida Atlantic is not that much better at 160th. I'm taking the under on that game.
Well, it was at 135, but I think it's down to 132. So I think everybody's
counting on that.
The first half under probably is your best bet. I bet you it'll be probably around what you think, 60, maybe 60.
Oh, yeah,
first
59 and a half.
Right,
maybe?
exactly. So I like the first half under because I think everybody's going to, you got Florida Atlantic. I mean, would you ever played on this kind of stage? I mean, San Diego State, Mountain West. I mean, do they get this kind of publicity as the Duke or Kentucky?
Never have.
Right. And so I think that it'd be a little tight coming out. And like you said, they do play good defense. But the game I told you about, that Tennessee, very similar to San Diego State. They beat them 65-55, which would be another under. And I think that's their best chance of playing. They shoot the ball well. I think FAU plays, they shoot the ball from 3-point very well. And I think that, they rebound like we showed you. They out rebounded Tennessee. So I'm going to go FAU. I'm going to take I say the slipper stays on for one more day.
All right. I'm going to pick San Diego State.
Okay.
Just because of the better win.
And it seems like they're
It's
playing
gonna be
the way they were going to win. But I mean,
I don't know. That's
my
such a
heart
toss up to me.
Yeah, exactly. This
So
whole
I'd rather
this whole
get that
tournament,
total.
nothing makes sense.
Right.
So why would that make sense to San Diego State? They'll probably score, be in the 160s. So I mean, that's how it goes.
I
All right,
want to see
Gator.
that.
Well, I kind of disagree with you guys. I like San Diego State, and I think they're going to cover the -2 easy. I think it's going to be under, and I think it's going to be a boring game.
Okay. Well, it'll be close.
Okay, well, all right.
But I
well,
think San Diego's going to beat them.
all right.
If it's close, it won't be boring, even if nobody's scoring.
I just know how the sports book customers are, and if there's not 1,000 points scored in the first quarter, it's a boring game.
Well, it'll be a first half. So it won't be a quarter, but
So
and I'm saying, listen to Jerome Tang. He's saying that's the best team he's played all year. Guarantee it. Big 12.
That's hard to believe, considering there's Kansas and Texas and everybody in there, and you're
Right.
saying they're the best team.
He's saying the
know,
best
that
team he
is a
saw.
Yeah.
So,
But good for him. I loved your.
and I'm not going to bet on. I mean, I'm going to predict, but I'm not going to bet. I'm going to take the under for sure. So that's
But I
the
agree with you being coach in the year. Not a lot of coaches do that, and you don't see that, and that is very. I can't.
Yeah.
sportsmanship. Yeah, it's great sportsmanship. Shows you how you be a professional.
Exactly.
Okay, we covered that.
So we've got
bracket, that side.
That side. We've got the South. We've got the East. Shall we move on?
No,
to,
let's move on.
what do you think? Let's go on to how about the West Coast champions, the Yukon Huskies. You okay with that, Joe?
Well, I was very happy because that's who I predicted to make the Final Four.
No, let's give you a big round of applause. You a lot of people there, but
Got one right.
Yeah, that's hard, though.
That was
well, they're definitely you see that how the odds have changed dramatically. Vegas has bought in on them. Now they're at -125 and they 4 to 5 ones. Is that the odds there?
yes,
I think?
-125 to win it all now.
So they're blowing everybody out, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, they played Arkansas. They won 88-65, right? They shot 45% from the 3-point line. They played Gonzaga. They shot 35%, their lowest of the tournament, but Gonzaga shot 2 from 20. So they shot 10% from the 3-point line. They demolished St. Mary's, right? They shot 45%, but they out-rebounded St. Mary 31-20.
Wow.
And that's because of Adame Sanago, their great power forward and center. And then Iona, you want to give Iona game I can throw in there, I guess. I've got Pertino's team out there, but they smashed them 87-63 and they shot 44%. So, Joe, they're shooting 39.7% from the 3-point line through the tournament. So it tells you and they've also won 11 out of their last 12. And the team they lost to was Marquette in the Big East tournament. But Marquette shot 37% that game. So they were shooting lights out and they only won by 2. So, Marquette was out rebounded by 10 rebounds in that game too. So it shows you that UConn does have a flaw. I mean, if Marquette, there's a little bit of flaw there, but every game, you're going to have one game you don't shoot the ball well, and they have not had that game yet. And maybe they can run the table in the tournament, but the only reason they're blowing people out is because they're shooting 40% from the 3-point line. And you're going to have that time where you can't do it. And I'm going to talk about Miami, where they had their game where they didn't shoot the ball well, but they still found a way to win. And can you get it seems like you have to get lucky one game out of the tournament. Don't you agree there, Joe?
Well, you're not going to be perfect in every game that they're not going to shoot 40% in every 3-point line.
They're just shooting lights out. They're playing great defense, and they're out rebound on their opponents.
You can't possibly keep that up.
Right. And you think they have that one game, okay, because Gonzaga, we talked about, they blew them out, but you're shooting 2 for 20 from the 3-point line. I mean,
yeah, hard to believe they won by so much.
Right. And so, I think that UConn, they played two was it West Coast Conference? Is that where Gonzaga? Right?
Yeah, West Coast. That's St. Mary's and then a bunch of.
And they played Gonzaga, And then the team that they beat Arkansas. I say that would be their best win. But I mean, to me, there's no powerhouses that they knocked off yet. Yeah, they're shooting the ball well, but I'm telling you, they're not. I don't think that they're on that minus 125. I'm not going to do that.
Miami, Florida actually was maybe more impressive beating Houston and Texas in their last 2 games than Connecticut beating Arkansas and Gonzaga. Although Gonzaga looked like they were playing well, but
and I'm going to tell you about this. Are we going into Miami now, or do you want? Or you have anything else on UConn?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about Miami because like what I talked about when Miami beat Duke by 25 points. I said take them. They went to the Sweet 16 2 years in a row. Take them at 66-1 odds. I did, and my heart is with Miami at 66-1 odds. 700 reasons why I'm going to believe in them. But I will be talking to my friend Joe if they do get past UConn, because I know there's a hedge bet coming. Because if you got $700 if they win for a $10 bet, you might want to hedge a little.
You're getting points right now.
You're getting points,
but that's right. Connecticut, you'd have to hedge with Connecticut, and then you'd be laying the points there.
Right.
So you just might want to wait and just ride it out. You might want to bet a little bit.
Okay, but I'm going to tell you, let's talk about the Texas game that they won with Miami. Okay. Yeah. Texas shot 40% from the 3-point line. They out-rebounded them 25-10, and they had 20-11 in assists. So how did Texas lose? Every stat, if you look at the box score, but except for one, free throws. They shot 28 of 32 from the free throw line. So if you're telling me you're going to the free throw line, I'm telling you that you're going to the basket, you're driving, you're getting good shots, and you're making the defense foul you, and you're playing aggressive on the offensive side. So
you're more physical.
So they outshot them in free throws, and Texas was 11 for 15. That's where the big points came in, and that's why they beat them by 9 points, 8 points. Let's go to Houston. Miami now is shooting the ball well. They shot 44% from the 3-point line, while Houston shot 29%. So they won by impressive 14-point spread. But they shot free throws 16 out of 19 again. So keep that pattern going when you're betting, because when they beat Indiana, they shot 39% from the 3-point line, and they out-rebounded them 48-31. And when they beat Drake, was probably their toughest game in the first round.
And they only won by like 7.
Right. And but their free throws were 16 out of 19. So that was the only one game they didn't get 20 free throws. But they are you see they're going to the ball. So that tells you Miami scores at, the season, they shot 36.9% from the 3-point line. That's very high for a team. And their free throws are 78%. So they shoot as a team 78% from the free throw line. So it tells you take the 5.5. I think it might go up to 6 because everybody's seeing those inflated numbers from UConn as they had their easiest road, I think, to the freaking Final Four. So I'm taking Miami in the points, and I'm hoping they win.
Yep. I think that makes a lot of sense. What do you think there, Gator, on that?
Well, I
might see how it goes in the book. And if everybody's taking Connecticut, doesn't that generally mean it's a bad bet?
Well, the theory that I got is that Miami is probably going to cover the 5.5. Are they going to win? In my heart, I say yes. I think everybody jumping on UConn is nutty.
Yeah, that's kind of a general thing, and the way that people generally it doesn't go that way.
We're looking at a minus 250 on the
money line.
Yeah.
So is that the best bet? Take the points, and
I
don't need them?
I would take the points.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would take the points.
I'm just saying, I think UConn's gonna have one game where they don't shoot the ball.
But I think Miami can win.
One of these two. I think so too.
I really do. Yeah. And I think it'd be San Diego and Miami. And I would love to see it.
If it's Miami and Florida Atlantic, we'd have a Southern Florida. They're both from the Miami area, from that area down there. So I'd say there'd be Florida.
But it's good for all four.
I said it was an all Texas tournament. But you know what Miami says? Houston and Texas. I'm going to Texas. I'm going to play the Final Four. And they definitely been playing like a great team. They've been a dog 3 out of the 4 games, and they've won outright.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hate to pick this game too. So I'm going to try the total again, this Connecticut Miami game. Let's say Connecticut has covered 9 out of 10. So you can see why people are jumping on Connecticut, while Miami's only covered 6 out of their last 10. But like you said, that 3-point shooting, I'm not counting Miami out. So my money is going on the over. I think they will continue to shoot the three well, and Miami actually can score, as evidenced by their last couple of games. 88, they scored against.
Yeah, they're in the 80s. I'm sure their season totals average probably is in the 70s for sure. You saw how they bounced Duke.
But your defense, the defense is the question.
The defense is the question, and UConn is definitely playing good on both sides of the ball.
I'm going under the first game, the boring one, and over the second one, the exciting one. We'll see how that goes. So anyway, as far as odds and some stats, of course, we got a number 5 San Diego, a number 9 for Atlanta, a 4 Connecticut, a 5 Miami. That's just crazy. That's never happened before. Sink or swim. San Diego State was the only team to be ranked in the top 25 of the last 4 teams before the season started.
Swim.
I'm swimming. Yeah,
It was a swim. The other 3 teams not even ranked.
No,
So it shows you what preseason odds give you.
And North Carolina, who was ranked number 1, didn't even make the tournament and got bounced in the NIT.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Exactly right.
Over the course of the season, you could have got San Diego State at 125 to 1. You could have got, like you said, Miami 66. Connecticut was also at 60 to 1 at one point. Believe it or not, guess what kind of odds you could have got on Florida Atlantic at the beginning of the season, April 25th?
2,000.
Close. 2,500 to 1.
I wasn't too high.
Wow. And I can tell you this, at the beginning of the tournament, you could have got Florida Atlantic at 300 to 1.
Which wasn't too bad at all.
It's not too bad for a $10 bet.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, a number 5 seed has never won the tournament before. This year we got Miami, Florida, and San Diego State are both number 5s.
Right. And their 5s have a losing record to the 12s throughout the tournaments. So all 5s won this year, and we got 2 of the 5s into the Final Four. So it's against the odds, just like Gator said, take the dogs.
Well, last week we said to lean towards the dogs. Sweet 16, underdogs went 5-3. Elite 8, they went 3-1. And all those teams went outright. So it's been going that way for sure.
The lower seeds have been winning throughout. So UConn, beware of the odds.
Of course. And I'm going to thank Butch the Butcher for some of that information that contributed to our show. Let's see. But it seemed kind of crazy. Connecticut minus 125. You got San Diego State now at 4 to 1. Miami, Florida, 450. Plus 450, and Florida Atlantic at plus 625. There's only 4 teams left, and 3 of them are 4 to 1 or higher.
Yeah,
It's just,
man.
I mean, they are already cutting
crazy.
down the nets out there in Houston. They already got their ladder out ready to cut down the nets for UConn, I guess. But beware the lower seeds.
Yes. And how about the brackets? We did kind of mention that out of 3.6 million ESPN brackets, 6 have the Final 4 correct. So that's pretty tough to do. And the guys who put like Columbus and Albany in there.
Yeah. Be careful when you're filling out that bracket. We had one of our Patriots have who do you have? Albany and Columbus, which is where they were playing. That's not who was playing. So he had them going all the way, and
that didn't quite work out. Okay, so I've got Connecticut over San Diego State, and there are also odds for most outstanding player available too, if you want to try that.
Well, then I would go with that Adama Sanago, because
Yeah.
he's definitely, I bet you he has probably minus right now, or very low.
I didn't actually take down those odds, but those can be checked out at the old sports book or on your app. The women's NC2A tournament has also been interesting. Have you been following it?
Oh, absolutely. It's been great. Virginia Tech came back and smoked Ohio State, and they were, looked like they were out rebounding in the first half, and they got back. So who's in the Final Four? We got of course South Carolina. We got South Carolina, yeah, and then you got them playing Iowa.
Yes,
and then we
got
have
LSU.
LSU.
South Carolina is playing LSU. LSU is playing. Iowa is playing South Carolina. LSU is playing Virginia Tech,
who's the number one seed. So at least the number one seeds made it in the women's side like they were supposed to.
2 got knocked out early, and the other 2 made it.
Made it there. And like I said, Virginia Tech had a great comeback win, and I couldn't believe how great they were shooting the 3 points. And they're going to give South Carolina a run. My heart's with Iowa. course. I like
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark. She's definitely one of the better players. If she goes off, I mean, there's no telling.
Yeah. Well, this is the first time since 2007 Connecticut didn't make it to the Elite Eight. That was pretty surprising. 16 consecutive years. Of course, South Carolina now the huge favorite, minus 340. LSU's got head coach Kim Mulkey, who's been awesome at Baylor and won championships and moved on surprisingly. So I'm leaning towards,
Hard to go against the Gamecocks in this one.
yeah,
The Lady Gamecocks, I should say.
and Mulkey, I guess, is my combo right here.
I know, but I'm telling you,
8-1 on
You
Iowa.
got 11.5 points with Iowa.
See
I
the
like the points.
Yeah. Virginia Tech is 13-1 to win it.
That's surprising that the number one seed's a dog in this game. I mean, they're
I think they're going with the coach.
is that what it is? Yeah, with their flashy coat.
Yep, that's her.
All right. So
She has a history, and
Yeah.
she's a tremendous coach.
what happened to the coaches being on the sideline and doing their job instead of running around and freaking look like they're on a runway, I don't know. She must like the limelight. I don't know. I'm going with Virginia Tech. If they shoot the ball in as well as they did against Ohio State, I like Virginia Tech in the
Okay.
points.
Well, you could have got them at 50-1. You could have got Iowa at 40-1 and LSU at one time at 18-1. South Carolina obviously has been number one the entire season.
And I think it was minus odds for them to you could have took the field and still wouldn't have got
But when the tournament started.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. So I'm going to pick LSU. I'm going to say South Carolina beats LSU in the final, and that's only 2 points on LSU. So
Yes, you're going with the SEC teams. All
I'm
right.
going to go SEC all the way on this
Okay.
one. All right. So have you been watching the NIT men's tournament?
Well, what about the Mean Green
Yeah.
fighting machine out there in North Texas? They knocked off Wisconsin last night. Or unbelievable game. How Wisconsin doesn't score 9 points. I'll save in 9 minutes. I'll save that for the you got host part of the
Okay.
story. But congratulations. That point guard they have, he's a really good. Shoots over 40%. So it's something that could translate very well to the NBA.
Yes.
He
UAB.
I was gonna say he was a junior college player with no Division I scholarships at all, and he ends up shooting over 40%
There you
for
go.
the 3-point line.
UAB beat Utah Valley State. Mark Mad Dog Madsen's coach of Utah Valley, and that was kind of neat to see him out there. But now we're going to have a Conference USA final. That total, by the way, in that Wisconsin game, 115.5. How do you not bet over on that? And it went under anyway.
Well, because when you don't score the last 9
Right.
minutes, it's gonna go under. It's probably hard to go over when you. I mean, did they just put a lid on the rim? How do you not make 1 point, including free throws?
So NIT's in Vegas now, not Madison Square Garden. Is that bizarre?
First time, yeah.
That's crazy.
Seemed like it was a smaller stadium. It didn't look like it was one. I know it wasn't
Yeah.
T-Mobile.
Yeah. So now Conference USA in the postseason. That's Florida Atlantic, North Texas, and UAB 18-1. You think they're going to get more than one team in the tournament next year? That's
Well,
you would only hope. That's an underrated
well,
conference.
North Texas, they lost their conference final game, and that's why they didn't get in. They should have been in. They won their conference. They won their league, but they
Should
didn't
have
win their tournament. Yeah, so
Yeah.
looked like they should maybe been in there. Been another Cinderella story with Florida Atlantic.
So this is going to be the fourth time North Texas and UAB have played this year. So
Wow.
yeah,
So they know each other.
you could say that. Yes. Point spread UAB -1. Total is 126.5. First time they played, North Texas won at UAB 63-52. February 9th, North Texas 82-79 in 2 overtimes. At the end of regulation, it was 62 all. And then the conference tournament, Frisco, Texas, March 10th, UAB won 76-69. Do you
Right.
have a prediction for this game?
I'm definitely thinking it looks like the under. I mean, for sure. But I mean, I'm going to bet North Texas. I like North Texas. I think that they're going to get their revenge back since they busted they're going to the big dance when they beat them in their conference tournament. So I'm going to go North Texas. Get the
Okay.
revenge game.
All right.
Yeah, I'm with North Texas. Yeah,
Okay.
sounds good.
North Texas, the slowest tempo in the country out of 363 teams. The lowest leader in scoring defense, 55.7%. I guess I have to go with the under on that game, even though the last one went over.
Well, it went over, but then was that the double overtime game? Or
But the double overtime would not have gone over had it not gone
Right.
to overtime. So I consider that an under to me. But
Well, we'll give you a good off night to watch some basketball before the
Sure.
tournament starts. When is it? On Friday or is it
no, that's going to be tomorrow.
tomorrow? Okay.
Thursday. And being in Vegas, there are numerous props available for the NIT.
Of course.
So just in case.
Anything in Vegas. You're right, Joe.
So are there any NBA news to share?
Well, I'm going to start with the West. I think Memphis is playing the best ball right now. They're 9-1 in their last 10. So they look like they're getting ready. They got John Morant back from his counseling, and he's ready to go.
He's still shooting.
He's shooting, but not his pistol. So he's very good that he's got that under control. We'd like to thank his counselor for whatever advice that they gave him. But let's go about your Kings. They got a 5-game lead to win the West, so that's good. The Kings are 6-4 in the last 10. Clippers are 7.
Pacific,
and
Yeah.
7-3. The Clippers without Paul George, and we thought, like you put out last week, that Paul George had an injury. Didn't seem to be as bad. He's expected to return, I think, in the second week of April.
Okay.
So he'll be ready for the playoffs. The East, the Bucks still have a 2.5-game lead over the Celtics. Celtics, what were you thinking yesterday? You're playing the Wizards. Bealey's out, and so is Kyle Kuzma, and they get smashed by over 20 points or something. I can't believe they lost to the Wizards. But anyway, they still hold game lead over to the 76ers. But they were without James Harden and Joel Embiid. They're questionable to return to their next game. Celtics, like we said, they're 7-3 cruising. They would be 8-2 if they would have put a half effort against the Wizards. And the Cavaliers are also 7-3. And we got to watch that Chicago. They've been kind of hot lately. They're 7-3, knocked off the Lakers in LA.
They're playing
very well. They have a 2.5-game lead over those surprising Wizards for that last spot in the 10th seed in the East.
Still a lot to figure out in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, is there any other basketball going on besides really the NCAA? It's kind of hard to compete with that, but as soon as it's over this week, we get down to our last 4 or 5 games.
I guess Kevin Durant is back. I guess there's a battle. There's a battle betting wise between Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic for MVP.
Right. Embiid is the favorite right now, and Djokovic was the favorite at the beginning of the season, and it's flipped a little bit. So it's minus for Joel Embiid, but he did not play in the big matchup in the Mile High City. He said with his foot he was going to take a day off, and so I think a lot of writers that might sway their pick. If you didn't play in your big game against the MVP, that was your chance. The two centers,
right,
to go at it, and I think if he was going to rest a game, it would have been that one. He should have rested the night before against Golden State.
I agree. That showed a little gutless there, not to play. Maybe he might have been outplayed and
lost his
MVP.
And he's very, very vocal that he wants to win that MVP. Yeah. He's not like it's like, hey, but of course, everybody wants that championship.
So is LeBron seriously hurt or just slightly hurt?
LeBron is questionable for Wednesday. Yeah. Okay. So he has his foot, but he did lead the team in assists and scoring. So he played well, 29 points against Chicago. We also have injuries to Russell. Russell?
DeMarcus Russell.
DeMarcus Russell. I'm sorry. DeMarcus Russell. He has a hip injury and a foot injury to also Adrian Davis.
That might be D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, D'Angelo Russell. Yeah.
Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
Okay. Gator.
Yeah.
What's going on in the National Hockey League?
Okay. Well, Boston had a chance last night, Joe, to take the President's Trophy, but they lost to Nashville 2-1.
Just a matter of time.
Just a matter of time. You're exactly right on that.
They'll get that. How about Connor McDavid? I guess he's on fire for Edmonton.
Sure, and I got a sink or swim for you guys. Connor McDavid is sitting at 143 with the 7 games left. Question is he going to get 150 points this year?
Is that the highest? Is that what would be the highest?
He's already, yes.
Well, Wayne Gretzky got 212 one year.
Right.
That was pretty amazing.
Well, I'm sinking on that one. I don't think he's going to get the 212, but okay, we'll go 150. I say for sure that's a swim.
I'd say for sure on 150. He's been averaging like 2 points a game.
Right. So in those points, you got to count assist and goals.
Yeah. So 14, and you said he's at 143. I'm saying 157.
Ooh, you're going that high, huh? Two per game.
No, well, they seem to be on fire right now. As long as they have something to play for and they're not resting them. I would say.
Right now, they
Yeah.
did play Vegas last night, and Edmonton beat Vegas, but Vegas is on my hot list as well, Joe. So both
Okay.
teams actually are.
Well,
on my
no.
You
hot
got
list.
the Avalanche on your hot
Oh,
list?
big time! Avalanche are 9-1. They're the top.
Okay, so
You
what
know-
is their points in that?
Last time was 1986 that somebody scored this many points in a season. That was Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr on the same team. Pittsburgh.
That's when Pittsburgh. Yeah,
So,
but
that's pretty amazing. What's
the
happening?
Sharks fans would remember that very well.
Okay. So who is hot and cold right now?
Okay, well, again, Colorado Avalanche, they're 9-1. Yeah, just in time for the playoffs, I would say. Then we have three teams, Joe. That are 7-1. We have Boston, the Rangers, and Edmonton, all 7-1.
All on fire?
All on fire, exactly. All playoff teams. And Vegas, like I said, they're 8-2 because of that loss last night. But
Okay.
Edmonton scored 7 goals against them, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, that was very impressive. So who's cold?
Okay, well, San Jose again, of course, they're 1-9.
They're normal,
Normal,
doing their
exactly.
normal stuff.
But we do have 3-0 teams. We have Chicago 0-6, Arizona 0-5, and Florida 0-4, Joe. All those other teams are doing great right before the playoffs. They're the one that are,
Florida's the one driving.
yes, big time. And then Washington 1-4, but they're not going to make the playoffs anyway.
Okay. Well, that's too bad about Washington. They just kind of traded away their players. Ovechkin's father passed away. It's just been a really dismal
Tough year.
season for them.
Very tough.
They
year.
did win it all a couple of years back. So
Correct.
good for
But to
them.
win it all, I think we have there's some good money out there, as we know that we brought up in the show before about who wins the President Cup, how many times do they win the Stanley Cup?
Mhm.
And it's
Maybe 1/3 of the time.
1/3 of the time, exactly. So you can get like Dallas at 40-1 odds right now, and they're the 3 seed in the West.
You want my Stanley Cup?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Well, go
Joe?
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm going to take Boston to be in the Stanley Cup, but I don't think Boston's going to win it just because they're going to win that President's Trophy.
Edmonton beats
I say
Boston.
yes, exactly.
I would figure you would pick Edmonton. Yes, they look amazing.
They do. They look so bad. They look so great.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they're going to have to get past. You're not even get the defending champion Colorado Avalanche a
I know.
shot at another.
Oh, there's a
shot.
lot of teams that are going to have a shot.
Oh, yes, especially in
This
the
is-
West
yeah.
and even in the East.
The
I mean,
hockey
you got
playoffs are
Carolina.
Right.
I don't think Tampa Bay is that great in the East. And I at the beginning of the year, I took Toronto.
Right.
And Toronto is one of those teams that's hardly anybody's talking about because they're like the Chicago White Sox in my eyes, where you think they're going to do something and they don't.
Okay.
So, but they can. That I'm going with that. I do think that Toronto still has a great shot at
You
beating
get to a
Boston.
7-game series, and I'm telling you, even though Boston's rolling everybody up, it's going to be tough to get there. It's not. I mean, I think.
But the thing
they're
I like
minus
about
odds right
Boston
now,
is
too.
that they play playoff hockey in the regular season. They're the only team that I see that plays playoff hockey in the regular season.
Well, I see
Okay.
Edmonton playing some pretty good hockey right now. I mean,
Not physical.
okay.
A little too fancy and not physical enough, says the Gator.
Yeah.
You're going to have to beat some teams up.
All right. Well,
In the
we'll see what
playoffs.
Same
happens.
with Colorado.
Colorado, there
Same
seemed like
thing.
they were kind of resting everything up. They haven't had Landeskog the whole.
Well,
they're
they've
gonna
had
get-
all kinds of injuries.
and you had McKinnon out. You have Landeskog, and they're still at 1 point behind
Correct.
behind Minnesota.
No, so I'm not leaving them
So
out.
you
But
get,
you
when
know,
Landeskog
that's
comes back
that's
the
my
first
heart.
week, but Landeskog comes back this week. You
I
get your captain back, like you said, physical. He throws the gloves off when he
Yes,
has
he
to,
does.
and I think you give the captain a little credit. Don't be dishing on the Avalanche defending champions.
Oh, that's my heart. Of course, I want them to win every year.
Okay,
Mhm.
Good-
And just
good
so
stuff.
you guys know, I was an Avalanche fan before they even came to Colorado. They were
Oh.
Quebec Nordiques.
so you were a Nordique fan at
I
that
was a
time.
big, huge Nordique fan. Yes.
All right. So Gator, your predictions went 8-2 last week, putting you at 154 and 76 for the season, which is an excellent 67%. Who do you like this week?
Okay, Joe. Well, I have 3 games on Thursday. Boston over Columbus.
Okay,
Carolina's at Detroit. I'll take Carolina.
right.
And Edmonton's at the Kings. Or no, Edmonton's at home against the Kings, and I'll take Edmonton.
Right.
Okay, so Friday I have 1 game. Dallas is playing amazing. That's one of the teams we should have been talking about that we didn't. They're playing at Arizona, and I'll take Dallas. Saturday I have 2 games. I have New Jersey at Chicago. New Jersey is kind of disappointing to me, but they should beat Chicago. I think that they should be doing way better right now. Edmonton over Anaheim.
Okay.
And Sunday I have 4 games. Boston at St. Louis. Boston should win that. Carolina is going to be hosting the Islanders. Islanders are doing all right, but I still think Carolina is going to win because it's in Carolina. Toronto over Detroit. And Calgary over Anaheim.
All right.
Dissing on the Red Wings.
Of course.
All right.
We'll
Well, they
see.
got a good win
I'm an
this week.
Avalanche fan.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
We'll say what we used to say about the Red Wings. Yeah, exactly.
So any news from the NFL? Quick.
Well, I think Lamar Jackson
All right.
put out and said on March 2nd, he asked for a trade. Our producer was all over that saying that he asked what he'd do about it. But I thought that he would keep it quiet, just to save a little face. But he's very upset with the Ravens, and and I think that they're going to have to trade him. I mean, there's some teams that are out there. I thought maybe Atlanta would be a good fit.
Yeah,
With Michael
right
Vick.
before Harbaugh was about to come out with his little talk, and here comes Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson says, I'm disappointed with the way they treated me. He definitely wants that, Deshaun Watson money, obviously, and wants that kind of contract. And I think that
The guarantee.
I think Baltimore has to stick to their guns and say, look, I can't put the whole team. It's
Baltimore should have made the deal 3 years ago or 2 years, 3 years ago.
he denied 130 million guarantee. So I mean, I don't know
What else they
and what
could
he's going to
do.
get. But I thought Atlanta, but they said Desmond Ritter is their starting.
Ritter.
Ritter's their starting quarterback.
We can start with that. Yeah,
Right.
sure.
So I think that they're not going to be in it, but I know who is in the running for it is the Colts have put out
Right.
there that they want their franchise quarterback, and they will give you the Deshaun Watson. I mean,
I think that's a great fit, actually.
Probably-
I like it.
get on the turf and
Colts are probably the leader
right and
right
that
now.
and Aaron Rodgers. People are coming out. Slay said that he wants Rodgers and he sees it happening. So I think it's just a matter of time and what kind of compensation
Sure.
that the Green Bay is going to get. I'm sure they're asking for the moon.
It'll happen.
It'll probably happen. New York seems like they're all in. I think when they got Lazard, I think that was the picture that they've got your receiver now. You're just going to get your quarterback that can throw you the ball to you.
Wow.
So Gator, do you have any picks for XFL this week?
Okay. Well, Seattle's going to be at Orlando, and they're -5.5. I do like Seattle. Or no, I'm sorry. No, I'm looking at the wrong one.
Seattle
I'm sorry.
played Orlando last week.
No, I'm sorry. I was looking at last week. Seattle's playing Arlington, but I'm still going to take Seattle, even though it's at Arlington. Seattle's -4.
All right.
Sorry about that. Saturday, we have 2 games. We have San Antonio at Vegas. Vegas is favored, Joe, but I don't see how. How in the heck are they favored? They can't win a game.
They don't win any games.
No, so that I don't understand, but I'm going to take San Antonio.
Okay.
DC is going to be in Orlando. DC is undefeated. Orlando is probably the worst team. Got to go with DC at a -9.5. Orlando
Right.
don't seem to even come close to covering.
Okay.
They handled Houston pretty well last week too. So
Yeah.
They sure did. And the last game is St. Louis and Houston. Now this one's tough for me because St. Louis seems to somehow always in the fourth quarter find a way to win or be
McKinnon.
close. Houston's at -3, but I have to take Houston.
Yeah, I think I
gotta
would
take
have to pick
Philip.
Houston also.
Phil's just a better coach.
Okay.
all right.
All right. So quickly, what transpired in NASCAR Circuit of Americas, Austin, Texas last week?
Okay, Joe, I'm going to be totally honest with you people. I didn't see this race until the very end, but I guess I watched the best part of it because there was 3 overtime restarts in that race. And Tyler Reddick of Toyota, that first turn, Joe, that looks like a gaggle of cars, and he was cool, calm, collect all 3 starts. So I give him a lot of credit. And he was the only Toyota in the top 5, 6, 7. I mean,
Right.
we picked Toyota.
Well,
We're pretty lucky.
we picked Truex, yeah.
But
Road course.
Did we get good odds on Reddick?
on Reddick,
He's probably
I'm
like
sure he was
12 to 1.
Yeah, I'm sure he was
15 to 1.
double digits. Yeah.
Okay.
But Chevy's took 2 through 5 places, and Ford, Austin, Cindric received 6.
So Chevy was pretty much the best, but
Yes.
but
But
Reddick won the race.
are you guys seeing like a pattern? Didn't Riddick win it last year? So I think he did. I think same thing with Byron. He won one of his
And
races.
he was up there too. Byron looked like he was going to win.
So next week we go to
Virginia.
Virginia. Yeah.
Short
Richmond
track.
is next
short track.
Sunday.
He won it last year was Danny Hamlin.
Yes,
And
he
that's
did.
his home
Toyota.
track.
It's his home track.
Correct.
So I like Danny Hamlin there. I'm sure you're not going to get very good odds on it, but
Well, like I said, Martin Truex is my favorite driver, and he does really good at this track. So I'm going to take him. I'm going to take the Toyotas. But I take that with a grain of salt because Kevin Harvick, this is his last year. I think he's going to win one race somewhere. He took second last year, so I am kind of scared about Kevin Harvick beating him.
All right. Well, Formula One's in Australia Saturday. Sergio Perez surprisingly won in Saudi Arabia 2 weeks ago, but only because Max Verstappen started 15th. And he still ended up getting second behind Perez. Charles Leclerc won the race last year. Can anyone beat Verstappen?
I don't think so, Joe. Even if the Ferraris, I'm going to be rooting for Fernando, at least to get into the podium. Okay. But Red Bulls look too tough, man.
Yeah,
they just look way too tough.
Verstappen every race, right?
Yeah, you're going to make money.
That's right. Maybe not a lot, but some. In other notes, Sam Burns won golf's final match play tournament last Sunday. Odds 35-1. Not bad.
Yeah, excellent.
And the Masters, golf's first major, begins a week from tomorrow. Seeing as though we do the show Wednesday, do you have a pick for the tournament that starts next Thursday morning? You have a prediction as to who's going to win?
I like Scheffler, but didn't Scheffler win it last year?
Scheffler,
sorry.
Yeah, he did win it.
So I don't think he's going to win again.
You can mix up Scheffler and Schauffele.
Oh, big times. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes. So I would really, really, really look at matchups.
Okay. Parlay the matchups.
That's just what I would do.
Okay. Or find
it's really hard to find one guy out of that tournament is just tough.
Well, I always take Jordan Spieth. You know that.
But it's tough.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough. Also, Gator, Australian rules football season's begun on Fox Sports 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Good for us.
So late,
we get to watch it.
So late.
Yeah. You might want to.
If you guys never seen that sport, at least take a look at it.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. At least,
Let's take a look at it. Like our rugby. Just watch it. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. Moments we've been waiting for. Stories that make us furious about bets that appeared surely to be winners, but in the end, something went horribly wrong. They ended up being losers. Segment we call You Got Hosed.
You got hosed.
Well, I'm going to have to start out, guys, because I did take Wisconsin in the 1.5, and they were playing and they were up by actually 14 points in the first half. And you saw the lead swindle down with 9 minutes left in the game. Wisconsin decided not to score any more points. And Tyler Wall, he shooting free throws with 48 seconds left. They were down by 2, and he doinks them both. They go down there, get the ball back, and Wall gets his shot blocked, smashed. Then they get another stop. All I need is 2 points. I need 1 point, fellas. You go down there the third time. They pass it to Wall. They pass up the three-pointer, pass it into Wall. And Wall says, I'm not shooting again. And drop your Wall, man. Throw the freaking ball up there. But he passes a low pass to the 7'2" center who can't pick it up. And the game, they never got a shot off. And so, Tyler Wall, thank you very much. I got us.
And you had to watch it. Well, Joe, my host story is the Iowans. Here in Carson City, they black out the A's games, and they do black out some of the Giants games. Well, in Iowa, they take it to another level. They have 6 teams that are blacked out. They have the Chicago Cubs, the Chicago White Sox, the Kansas City Royals, Minnesota Twins, St. Louis Cardinals, and the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, the good thing is that MLB is talking about releasing those, not having those blackouts anymore, maybe starting next year after that. But boy, I would have to say, Iowans, you guys are getting hosed.
All right. Well, they get the Fill the Dreams game. They get that. Do they black that out too? When you have to Fill the Dreams in the
I guess if the
cornfield?
Cubs are there.
The Cubs are there. They might.
Do they get to watch?
Exactly. So I would say
anybody around there.
Poor guys.
Yeah. Well, my You Got Hosed story could have been that Princeton game, missing the final free throw with seconds left. And they lose by 11. I was getting 10. But that cost me my picks last week. But worse was my second half bet on Michigan State, -1 against Kansas State. Spartans are losing by 5 at halftime, so they could lose by 3 and I win my bet. Naturally, they play well enough to go to overtime instead of just losing by 1 bucket. Still, they're down 3, and with seconds left, they lose the ball in overtime. All Kansas State has to do is run out the clock, but no. A Wildcat player goes for an uncontested layup. Buzzer sounds as the ball goes through the hoop. Sparty loses by 5 and I lose by 1. I got hosed twice.
Twice. Why did they foul him, Joe? I mean, why did they? There was a 3-point game. They should have fouled.
Just go over there and hammer.
Fouled? Yeah, they might have missed their free throws.
Yeah,
I mean, it could have been Tyler Wall on the team. You never know.
That was terrible.
You got hosed.
One other thing, I know we have our baseball preview coming up here, and I want to take one little baseball bet out there for everybody. Tomorrow's opening day. All games are going to be on, like Rockin' Ronnie told us. But take the Dodgers and Arizona under. They're 7.5. And Gallion pitched 2 games against the Dodgers last year. He gave up 1 run in 1 game, and he pitched 8 innings and gave up no runs in the other. So Urias is pitching well with a 3 ERA. And I like that under. It was at 7. It moved up to 7.5, and it's been raining in LA. So I think you have the marine layer there. The ball won't be carrying as much. I like the under that 7.5. So I want to put that out there before we get into our baseball segment as well. We have Rockin' Ronnie coming in the studio.
That's it for the show. I'd like to thank Big Richard Martin, Gator Gates, all our contributors, our editor, producer, and engineer, Cornelius, and all you listeners out there. And next week, we look forward to bringing you another episode of Covering the Field.
You've been listening to Covering the Field, a CM World Services and the Sage production.